Hello and welcome to this short Pilates session, probably about 15 minutes, where we're just going to focus on some exercises for the back to help sort of strengthen and work our back and mobilise our backbone and the joints around our back as well. So I'm not a doctor, this isn't a cure for a back problem, so do see your doctor if you suffer with your back or go to a physiotherapist, but these are some really simple Pilates exercises to help you, and I would suggest you do these a couple of times a week, okay, maybe every other day. Don't overdo it. So first of all, get yourself into Pilates stance. So that is just toes facing forward, big toe, little toe and heel embedded into your mat. Knees are soft, we don't want to lock our knees out, that's really bad for your back. Shoulder blades down and pulling your tummy button in towards your backbone. And then what you want to do is rock backwards and forwards to get yourself into neutral spine. So when my bottom's sticking out or it's tucked too far under, that is not neutral spine, it's somewhere in between, guys. So just get myself in. Sometimes takes me a little while. That's about it. A good way to check is to put your forefinger and your middle finger either side of your tummy button and cough, and you'll feel the muscle contract. Okay, so I now know I'm in Pilates stance. So I'm going to start our exercises. Just going to warm up our upper back first of all by doing some shoulder rolls. Now Pilates is all about fluid movements and small movements, so don't drop your shoulders. You're rolling them up to your ears and you're rolling them back down. Okay, and then we're going to roll forwards in a second. So we're now going to roll our shoulders forward, starting to warm up those muscles around our shoulder joints and the muscles in your upper back. So just a few each way, it doesn't matter, don't have to count, but don't overdo it. So maybe 6, 7 or 8. I'm now going to hug a beach ball. So imagine there's a beach ball, a huge beach ball, and all you're going to do is lean your arms forward to hug that ball and then bring it back. And you'll feel this across your shoulders, sort of from your neck down, okay? So really hug that ball, hold it for a second, and then take your arms down. So just 3 or 4 of these is absolutely fine, and you're working on the upper back and your arms here, guys. So just really hug that ball. Don't forget throughout these exercises you're focusing on your core, you're using your core. So if you've let go of your tummy button and it's popped out, pull it back towards your backbone. Okay, so that's our beach ball. We're now going to roll down onto our mat to do some mat exercises. So when you roll down, you imagine a peach under your chin. That stops you tucking your chin in too far and choking yourself. It really hurts when you do that. So imagine you've got a peach under there, you're going to roll your shoulders, you're going to round them, and you're going to curve your backbone, your spine into a C curve. So we're going to do this slowly. I'm going to show you from the side, okay? Still in Pilates stance. So I'm going to tuck my head, roll my shoulders, accentuate that curve in your backbone, and go down all the way as far as you can go. If you can only go to your knees, it's fine. If you can go to the floor, that's great, okay? And just hold that for a second. You'll feel this in your lower back. You're stretching your spine, but you will feel it in your legs too. And then roll back up slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. Okay, and when you get to the top, shoulder blades back down, look up at the ceiling. Take a breath in through your nose. So we're going to inhale through our nose and then exhale as you come down into that C curve. I'm just showing you from the front now, guys. So down as far as you can go. Okay, just breathe for a second, feel that stretch, and then inhale through your nose and then exhale as you come up slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. One reason to come up slowly is that sometimes if you're going down and then back up too fast, you will go a little bit dizzy. It's a particularly hot day where I'm recording today, so I am taking these exercises slowly. On our last roll down, we're going to stay on the floor, okay? So imagine that peach tucked under your chin, okay? Tuck your chin slightly, inhale, exhale as you go down into that C curve, all the way as far as you can go. Okay, when you get as far as you can go, just hang on for a second and then go down onto your knees, hands and knees. Okay, Take your knees slightly further apart than hip width, okay? Have your ankles or feet touching and you're going down into child's pose. The easiest way to do that is to put your bottom towards your heels first of all, okay? Don't worry if you can't get it actually on your heels. Bottom towards your heels, and then slide your body in front of you and pop your forehead on the mat. So you're just going to slide out and pop your forehead on the mat. Now when you're in child's pose, you will feel a stretch all the way down your body. It's a really good exercise for your back. I would suggest you do that anytime your back's playing up. Just try and get yourself into child's pose and just relax into that position and stretch your back out. So I'm going to get back into child's pose now. So just stretching out. My forehead is on the floor. My tummy button is still pulled in. I'm strengthening my core. Okay. And then I'm just going to lie down into what we call baby cobra we're going to do now. So your hands can be either side of you, okay, so just elbows slightly out at the side, palms down flat on the floor, either side of your head, forehead on the mat, and then we're just going to lift up into baby cobra. I'm not using my arms here, guys. I'm completely relaxed. I'm just using my core to keep me in position, and then I go back down. And then I inhale through my nose to come up, and as I come up I exhale. So I'm exhaling here, I'm just keeping myself up, and you're just looking at the end of your mat. Don't be tempted to lift your head or do what I'm doing by moving my head around. You just keep your head there and then back down. Now you could do 3 or 4 baby cobras before you go into the next. So the next exercise we're going to do, and the reason I'm doing this, I'm trying to give a little bit more instruction rather than working through this with you. So after baby cobra, we come back onto our hands and knees and we do what we call cat-cow. So hands are under your shoulders, knees are hip width apart, okay, feet are hip width apart too. You are in neutral spine and you're pulling your tummy button in, but you're going to curve your back up into a cat and then you're going to drop it down into a cow. Okay, so your back isn't straight, it isn't flat, it's coming up or it's dropping down. Again, really good exercise for your spine. This is all about moving your spine into different positions. So I'll just demonstrate a couple of cat-cows. What I tend to do is inhale as I come up into my cat and exhale as I go down into cow. And I think it's really good if you do this at your own pace rather than me count you through it, because we all breathe differently. So we're going to inhale and then exhale, so up into my cat, and then I'm going to inhale before I start and exhale as I go down into cow. Okay, I'm doing this quite slowly for you, so you can just inhale up and exhale down. It's completely up to you, but the aim is to get your back rounded off into a C curve for your cat, and then drop it all the way back down. I hope you can see there's a curve in my spine here, and then back up into cat and back down into cow. All the while you are focusing on the front of your mat, you're not lifting your head up, you're putting no strain on your neck, and you are keeping your tummy button pulled in towards your spine, which means you're using your core. So that's your cat and that's your cow. And again, you might do 5 or 6 of those, you might do 3 or 4, depending on where you are and how much time you've got. From cat-cow, we're going to go into tabletop and we're going to extend an arm and a leg out. So this is good for strengthening as well. So strengthening and lengthening, I'll talk you through that one. So we're into a tabletop position. I'm going to take my left arm out and I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to take my right arm out, straight in front of me, and I'm going to bring it back. And then I'm taking my left leg out. Now I haven't got it really high because I will overbalance, and I haven't got it too low. Better to start low than high. And I'm going to bring it back. And then I'm taking my other leg out, and I'm bringing it back. And now for the tricky bit. What we're going to do now is we're going to extend left arm and right leg, bring them back. And then we're going to extend right arm and left leg and bring them back. So don't be tempted to do left arm and left leg because you will overbalance, okay? So, into your tabletop, take your left arm just straight out in front of you and bring it back. Then your right arm out and bring it back. Your left leg out, and you're not just taking it out, you're actually extending it, okay? So you will feel the muscles along the back of your leg tighten here, and back, and then my right leg, and back. So now let's have a go. So we're going to take left arm for me and right leg, and we're just going to hold. You're also really strengthening your wrist here of the arm that's down on the floor, and back, and then the other. So right arm for me and left leg, and I'm keeping my tummy button pulled in. I'm just looking at the front of my mat and I'm balancing, and back. Now again, I would suggest that you do that maybe to either side. So you'll do left and right, right and left, left and right, right and left, and then just repeat that exercise, okay? So that's called our tabletop. In brackets I call it extending because that reminds me to extend. So if you're jotting this down so that you can do these on your own, you might just want to jot that down, it'll remind you what you're doing. From there we're going to go into hugging our knees. So we're just going to roll over onto our back and we're going to pull our knees in. This is absolutely bliss for anybody, particularly those that suffer with their back. So you're just lying on the floor, hugging your knees into your chest, and then take it a little bit further and just circle your coccyx, the very base of your spine, and circle the other way. And that is a really lovely exercise. You'll feel that. It's a really good massage for the base of your spine. Don't lift your head up like I am. I'm just lifting it up to talk at the camera. So we're just circling one way and then circling the other way. And do that at any time throughout these exercises where you feel you need to just rest your back or pull your legs in. Okay, from there we're going to go into pelvic locks. So what I want you to do is lie with your knees bent, feet hip width apart, palms down on the floor. Check you're in neutral because we've changed positions, so just rock your pelvis backwards and forwards a little bit and pull that tummy button in, okay? Make sure your shoulders are relaxed and your arms are relaxed. You're not doing any work with that or with your head or neck at all. Now imagine you have a clock face between your tummy button and your pelvic bone, and in the middle is a marble, and you're going to move the marble around the clock. So I'm going to keep it simple to start by doing 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I'm not going to go for 10, 2, 4 or 8, okay? So just tilt your pelvis, okay, towards 12 o'clock. So move that marble up. Can you see that little movement to 12 o'clock? So you're not taking yourself off the mat, you're just moving your pelvis. And then move the marble down to 6 o'clock. Then we'll move it across to 9 o'clock. And we'll move it across to 3 o'clock. Can you see it's a tiny movement? And then back up to 12 o'clock. And then we're going to move it down to 6 o'clock. Now you can do whatever times you want with this little marble, but it just really helps to work your pelvis, and it's really good for your back as well, particularly your lower back. You're putting no strain on your back at all, but you're getting some movement into the base of your spine and your pelvic girdle. Okay, so those are your pelvic locks. Really good exercise to do, and you can do that again absolutely anytime. Even if you lay on the floor watching television on your back, just do some pelvic locks. The next one we're going to do is called a pelvic lift. This is very similar to a bridge, but with a bridge you often lift up quite high and you squeeze your bottom so that you start to work your glutes. With a pelvic lift, we're just lifting slightly. A lot of Pilates is about small movements as well as fluid movements, so don't be tempted, even if you're in a class, to be the one to make your bridge the highest. That's not what Pilates is about. It's about you, and it's very personal and individual. So legs down, feet flat on the floor, legs bent, okay, and we're just going to move our pelvis up. The top half of my body is totally relaxed. I'm not using that at all. If I use anything to come up into a pelvic lift, I might maybe use my heels a little bit. The closer your heels are to the bottom, the easier this is to do. So we're just lifting up slightly our pelvis. We're not lifting our upper back. the lower part of your back is coming up naturally, and then we take it down. And we're just lifting slightly and taking it down. You're using your core muscles to do this, so it's really important for this exercise that you have your tummy button pulled in as far as you can towards your spine. Imagine your tummy button and your spine are linked by an elastic band. You're really tightening that band and then you're letting it go. So tighten that band and pull up, and then relax a bit as you go down. So tighten that band and pull up and relax as it goes down. So those are your pelvic lifts. If you're not sure the difference of that between that and a bridge, that tiny movement is a pelvic lift. Going into a bridge, you're using your heels a bit more. I'll just show you this, but don't do it if you have a back problem and you're coming all the way up into a bridge. Can you see I'm coming up? There's quite a gap there. Okay, and I'm pulling my bottom in tight, but don't do that if you have a back problem. Just do your pelvic lifts. It's a very small movement. The next exercise we're going to do, we're going to roll ourselves up. Okay, and we're going to do something called spine stretches. So we have our legs out in front of us, and we're just going to lift forward. It's a little bit like the first exercise, which was when we were stood up and hugging the beach ball, but this is really sitting up on your sit bones, legs out straight. If you want to bend them slightly, you can if you find that easier on your back, and you're just moving forward. And you will feel that, I can feel that spine myself, that stretching my spine. You're just lifting forward. Don't be tempted to reach for your toes. A lot of people, when they do this, they think it's a reach for your toes exercise. It's more keeping your arms shoulder height, or sort of around the bottom of your ears, and really lifting forward. And you're stretching that spine. That's what you're aiming to do here. And then come back, relax. Even when you're relaxing, try and sit up on your sit bones and pull forward. And really start to feel that stretch. You will feel a stretch, but if you feel any pain at all, stop the exercise or sort of bring it back a little bit. Okay, so I'll just show you again. And back. And one more. And back. And I would maybe do 4 or 5 of those at the most. You don't need to do absolutely loads. So we're going to finish off now with a crucifix, which is just legs bent, arms out either side on the floor, body totally relaxed. Check your back in your neutral, so if you need to rock your pelvis backwards and forwards, then do, to get back into neutral. You shouldn't have a gap under your back. If you've got a gap under your lower back, you're not quite in neutral. And then we're going to just drop our knees to one side. It's the left for me, and my head's going to the right. And you just hold that stretch. It's a really good stretch for your back, but equally good for your whole body, because your legs are going one way, your head's going the other, your arms are outstretched. Then come back to the centre, and then drop the legs the other way, and the head naturally goes to the opposite side. So my legs are to the right, my head's to the left. And just feel that lovely stretch. And do that 2 or 3 times. Okay, so I'll do it once more with you. So knees just drop. I'm not forcing them down to the floor. They're just dropping as far as they do, and my head's going the other way. Back to the centre. And one more. And back to the centre. If you want to finish off with something quite relaxing, not that that isn't relaxing, pop your hands on your upper tummy, just under your bust or your chest or wherever, okay, and do some deep breathing. We do a lot of shallow breathing naturally, but we don't often deep breathe. So just in a relaxed pose, knees up, feet flat on the floor, breathe in through your nose, and then out through your mouth. So in, and you breathe in, you'll feel your tummy rise because you're filling your diaphragm with air. Hold it and breathe out, and just do 3 or 4 really deep breaths. Finish off, you'll be totally relaxed, and that's about 10 or 15 minutes of exercise, so you can fit that in. As I say, you can vary it. If you want to do a few more stretches, you can. if you want to stick to that, you can. If you want to do 2 roll downs instead of 4, it's completely up to you guys. It's just a set of exercises that will really help if you suffer with your back. So I hope you've enjoyed the session, and I'll see you soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.